Welcome to the demo video for SuperBackdrop. Now, before I show you what you can use the SuperBackdrop for, let me just do a very quick rundown with you what you'll be getting inside SuperBackdrop. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to get is you're going to get access to the SuperBackdrop library, which all the backdrops are stored in the cloud, and you have very much have access to the library to download as much as you want for pretty much for a one-time fee. So there will be no recurring fees, there will be nothing more to pay. You only need to pay once and you get access to pretty much everything. Okay, so what you'll be getting inside the SuperBackdrop is you'll be getting tens of thousands of specialized created backdrops that you can use for green screen, or in your video project, in your graphic project, in presentation, and pretty much anything in between. And one part of the module that you'll be getting inside the SuperBackdrop library is a static backdrop. So these are basically a specialized backdrop, and each of them comes with a different version. Each of them comes with the first version that it comes with will be the original version, and the second version will be the out of focus version, and the other one will be black and white, and lastly the one is going to be black and white with out of focus. My apologies, the last version that you'll be getting will be black and white out of focus version. So it will be coming, all these backdrops with the different variants will come in extremely handy, because sometimes you might just want your backdrop to be a little bit more subtle, so you don't want that very backdrop to be the main focus point. So in that situation, then you can pick the out of focus version, or perhaps if you are creating a much more classy situation where you want your backdrop to be black and white, so and in that situation the black and white version will be the perfect choice for that one. And apart from the static backdrop, you'll be getting for thousands of video backdrop as well, and each of these video backdrop is inclusive with the original version and also with the out of focus version. Like the one with the static, the out of focus is the perfect choice if you want to create something more subtle, or you want to create something that where your backdrop is not in the is not in focus. So you want it to be out of focus. You want other object on top of it to be the main focus point. And apart from all these gorgeous, beautiful backdrops, you'll be also getting access to a library of green screen actors. Now, these green screen actors are extremely handy. What you can do is that you can use all these green screen actors and key out the green screen and place on top of the backdrop to create different situations. Like for instance, you can pick one of the group over here, and perhaps you can pick a shopping group and you can place on top of a shopping video backdrop to create a situation where a group of shoppers are actually doing their shopping. And there are unlimited ways you can utilize these green screen actors. As you can see from here, we have a different backdrops combining with the green screen actor of actress to create completely different situation over here. And lastly, apart from all of this, you will also get access to a library of thousands of versatile visuals. So these are images with the background professionally cut out. They are professionally, this is very, very important, because if they are not manually cut out, they will not be as perfect as you are seeing right here. So all this backdrop, my apologies, all this background from all these images have been professionally cut out, so they can be integrated perfectly into different backdrop without any quality issue. And this versatile visual will be perfect to use with all these backdrops, because you can mix and match to create different scenes, you can mix and match up to create different situation. Now let me show you on how to take these backdrops into action. Now all these backdrops are compatible with pretty much all the video software out there, and what I'm using here is I'm using Heatflink Express, which is a completely free video software. And depending on the video software that you use, what you see here might be different in your video software, but they're all relatively easy and straightforward. Now if you don't have access to any video software, our members page have full instruction on how to download and install Heatflink Express, and this is a completely free software, and this is one of the software that you can consider to use if you don't have access to any video software. All right, so now let's get started. What we have here is that we have a spokesperson with the green screen already keyed out. So what we're going to do is that we have already downloaded a bunch of the backdrops from the SuperBackdrop library. So now what we're going to do is that we're going to transport this very person here to a different location without having him to actually buying an air ticket to fly to those locations. Okay, so the first place that we are going to go will be this very place here. So this is very much a winter wonderland, and perhaps we don't want the video, and perhaps we want the backdrop to be a little bit more subtle. So what we can do is that we can select the out of focus version, which is basically a different version that is out of focus, that gives you a much more subtle environment. And for the SuperBackdrop, every single one of our video backdrops are included with the out of focus version, so that gives you a lot of choices in terms of on the type of backdrop you want to use. And the next one, what we're going to do, we're going to transport this very same person to a city. So this one over here, it will become very much an urban feeling. So we have an urban feel over here with a backdrop of a city. And perhaps if you want the city to be more subtle, then you can just select the out of focus version, which is what we are seeing here right now. And I can play the video and I can show it to you now. Now the video is a bit laggy because right now we are actually previewing using the we are actually in a preview mode, so it is perfectly normal to be the way it is being played out. Okay, so the next one is perhaps why don't we go to somewhere much more beautiful, perhaps a sunset in the ocean. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to transport this very same person to a beautiful location, to a beautiful ocean, to the beautiful beach during the sunset. Okay, so now we have a beautiful beach with a gorgeous sunset right behind him. And perhaps why don't we have a more subtle version of it? Then we can just select the out of focus version, and here we have the out of focus version of the beautiful sunset in the beach. And that is just the tips of the iceberg. With the SuperBackdrop library, you will find thousands of video backdrops and tens of thousands of static backdrop that will basically transport you to anywhere you would like to go, from perhaps change of season, from summer to winter, or perhaps winter to autumn, you name it. And if you want to, let's say if you want to place a spokesperson in a living room, you can do that as well. In the bathroom, perhaps you can do that as well. In the kitchen, in the hallway, to wherever you can imagine. And apart from all the backdrops that you will be getting inside the SuperBackdrop library, you will also be getting thousands of versatile visuals. Now, these versatile visuals are extremely handy, and they can be used mix and match with all those backdrops to create different scenes and to create different situations. And I'm going to show you how you can actually use these versatile visuals along with the SuperBackdrop to create different scenes. Okay, so let's get started. So one of my favorite software that I like to use is Photopea. All right, so this is a completely free Photoshop-like software in the cloud. Okay, so you don't have to install anything. So if you don't have access to any image editing software, then you can consider using Photopea. Now, inside the members area for the SuperBackdrop, we actually have direct link going directly to this very online cloud software. Okay, so if you have any image software in your computer that you prefer to use them instead, please be my guest, because all the versatile visuals are in standard PNG format, which will work with all the image software out there. So there won't be any compatibility problem. Okay, so right now I'm inside Photopea. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use the versatile visual along with a couple of backdrops to create different situations. So I have already have all the scenes sorted out which one that I will be creating. The first one that I'm going to create will be delivery boxes. Okay, so what I have here with the delivery boxes is I have backdrop that I downloaded from SuperBackdrop library, and I also have a versatile visual of a person that is actually holding a couple of packages. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the first thing is that I need to upload this very backdrop to my Photopea software. So I just drag it in here, and I just drag it in this very document here, and what Photopea will do, it will create a new document for me. So the next part I'm going to do is that I'm going to drop the versatile visual of a person holding a couple of packages in on top of this very house, in front of this very house over here. So I just open out this one. So this is the image, this is the PNG image that I need to drop onto my lovely house over here. Then I just drop it on top, and there you go. And I just need to resize this one a little bit to make it much more realistic, because our person here at the moment is way too big or way too small for the house. So I think this very size here will be perfect. So there you go. So now I have a scene where a delivery person is actually delivering a couple of packages to this very house here. Okay, so the next one I'm going to create is, let's see, what are we going to create? So what about a horse in a jungle? That sounds very interesting. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to drop the backdrop that I have downloaded, okay, that I have downloaded from the SuperBackdrop library, which is this very backdrop over here. So all I need to do is that, because I want to create a new document inside Photopea, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it in here instead. So if you notice, there's a bit of highlight over there. So what it means by that highlight is that Photopea will create a new document for me. Okay, so now I have this very backdrop drop inside this very document over here. The next thing that I'm going to do is that I need to drop my good looking horse into my document. So I just drag it all the way here, then I place it in here. So now I have a horse over here. Now the problem with the horse is that it is a little bit small, so I need to enlarge it to a realistic size. So I reckon this is quite realistic. So the next part that I'm going to do is that I need to rotate it, because right now the horse is not following to the road over here, which looks pretty weird. So I just click on the edit button over here and click on transform, and I just need to flip it horizontally. There you go. So what I have here is a scene where the horse is actually riding across this very road over here. Okay, so it's that easy. And what about, let's create another scene. Okay, so another scene, what we're gonna create, let's see, what are we gonna create? So why don't we create a lost astronaut? Okay, well, that sounds pretty interesting to me. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna drop the backdrop, which is this very backdrop here. I have this very backdrop here into my Photopea. Okay, now my apologies, for some reason I clicked on the wrong button, so I just need to drag this one all the way in right here to create a new document. Okay, so the next part is what I need to do is I need to drag this very astronaut into my document. So I just drag it, then I place it over here, and perhaps I move it around here, and maybe make it a little bit smaller. I think this will be perfect. So that's it. So now I have a scene where I have an actual astronaut in there that is actually appears to be lost. It's like he had been transported to another planet, like feeling lost in a jungle. So that is you can create all sort of, you can mix and match with all these versatile visuals along with all these backdrop to create pretty much all sort of different situation or different scenes. Or you can even perhaps what you can do, and let's create another one. Let's create another scene. Let's say scrolling on phone. Okay, let's see what we have here. So we have a backdrop of an office, and we also have a backdrop of a person that is actually looking at the phone. So what we can do with this one is that I can drag this one to create a new document. Then the next part is that I just need to drag this very fellow here on top of my backdrop over here. And what I'm going to do is that I need to enlarge this one because right now it is extremely unrealistic. So this fellow here need to be much more bigger. There you go. So what we have here is that it's like this person is actually in this very room, but where he is actually not in this room. This room is actually a backdrop that we use, that we place here, then we have him placed on top of here to create a completely brand new scene. So there are many ways you can utilize these versatile visuals along with all these backdrops. And perhaps you want to use the out of focus version, you can do that as well. So this is the out of focus version for this very backdrop here. Remember, every single one of the static backdrop in the Super Backdrop library includes of the out of focus version, the black and white focus, my apologies, the black and white version, and also the black and white out of focus version. So that gives you a lot of choice to pick which backdrop do you want to use alongside with the versatile visual. Okay, so let's try out the out of focus version. So because I want to import this very backdrop into my Photopea software, so what you can do is you can drop it in the layers panel over here. Then I move this one out to cover the original backdrop. So now I have an out of focus version backdrop, and I have the person over here looking at the phone right on top of it. That creates a situation where the main focus here is on this very fellow here, and the backdrop here, it becomes out of focus. So there are just unlimited scenes you can create using the versatile visuals along with all these backdrops. Now, apart from all the versatile visual that you will be getting with Super Backdrop, you will also be getting a library of green screen actors. Now, all these green screen actors are generic in nature, so their expression, their posture are all generic in nature, and also the backdrop is with green screen. So you can basically key out the green screen and place all these this green screen actor or actress on top of any backdrop to create any situation. So let's see how this green screen actor will look like when we put them into action. So right here in my video software here, I have a green screen actor selected. So I've already imported this one in here, and I've downloaded this one from the Super Backdrop library. So what I have here are a bunch of backdrops, video backdrop that I have downloaded from the Super Backdrop library as well. So what I'm going to do here, my first backdrop is a backdrop of a cafe. So what I have here is that I have created a situation where this guy over here is actually in this very cafe or lounge. Or perhaps I want something that is a little bit more subtle. Perhaps I can use the out of focus version instead. Okay. Or perhaps right now, let's send him to something much more, a place that is much more natural. Okay, so why don't we use this very backdrop over here? So this backdrop over here is very much a tunnel going across a very big bushes. So here we have something more in the nature. Or perhaps we can use the one that is without the out of focus effect. All right, or perhaps the next one that we're going to do is that we're going to move him into somewhere even more nature. Somewhere like this perhaps. So this is very much a flyover of a majestic mountain. We can use this one as well. And perhaps if we want this one to be a little bit more subtle, then we can pick the out of focus version from the Super Backdrop library. So there you go. So as you can see, the green screen actors and actresses offer a lot of amazing versatility as well. You can use them pretty much alongside with all these backdrops to create all sort of situation and all sort of scenes. And finally, Super Backdrop, it works pretty much across any software out there as well. You can use it in PowerPoint, you can use it in your presentation software, in any video software, in graphic software as well, and pretty much all type of video software. So that very much is this is the end of the demo video, and I certainly hope that I will see you inside the Super Backdrop library.